Okay, next episode.
I thought the future would be cooler.
2 left, if you're following along. This is something that I learned from talking to people in the NGO space. One of the sets of interviews we did was with people who work at International Red Cross and companies who are doing good in the world. I'm really fascinated by their motivation and how they do that. And it turns out that most of them move money to where it's needed, but they really spend most of their time thinking about building capability. They call it capability and capacity, and it's training, okay? And the thing that they taught me is to use what you have. And when you go downstairs and you look around or you pick out your phone, as David suggested, we have an extraordinary set of tools available to us today. I mean, absolutely extraordinary set of tools. And the story that I want to tell you from this episode was told to me by a guy called Chris Pirie. He's the CEO of Humentum, which is essentially the training group for 300 different NGOs. Like if you're in an NGO, you have to show your funders where every single penny goes. And what is bottom of the list? Training your people. So they organized into a consortium. They worked with Humentum, and Humentum's essentially their training department. And Chris sees some extraordinary things. The story he shared with me took place on the Turkey-Syrian border 3 years ago. There were a team of Syrian volunteers who were ready to set up refugee camps along the border. Remember, there's 3 million people coming out of Syria because it's a war zone. And it turns out that if you work in the aid industry, there's special language around project management. Project management's essentially the same, but in order to qualify for grants and spend money in transparent ways, you need to know some language and some processes around a special version of project management. This is what Chris and team do for a living, so they had books. Sorry, we can't get the books to where they're needed because there's a war going on. That's fine, we've got e-learning. Sorry, there's no web where we need to put these people. We can send in trainers. Sorry, it's too dangerous. So the result, what they did, was they put together a training program in 4 days using WhatsApp. You all know WhatsApp, right? And everyone has WhatsApp in the UK. They put together groups, they put together study groups, they distributed materials, they did really amazing things, and in 4 weeks, they had 250 project managers who could actually engage and build these refugee camps on the Turkish border. Use what you have. I know in my team, we would have spent 6 months evaluating different technologies, we would have spent a year getting it deployed, and we still wouldn't have got on with solving the problem that was in front of us. I learned a lot from these kind of people, and I love this use what you have mentality, especially because we have such a lot. I wanted to give a shout out to this guy who was also on my podcast. Michael, are you in the room? Stand up. Michael built, you can sit down now because it'll get embarrassing. Michael also used SMS text messaging. In fact, he's built an SMS text message learning platform called Arist, short for Aristotle, with his colleagues at university on the east coast of the US. And he did this because he went to, I'm spacing on the country, Michael. He went to the Yemen, and he found his peers were hungry to learn, but they couldn't even get access to the internet. So he said, I'm going to do something through text. And he built a text platform. Now, you're all saying what I said the first time I heard this. This is bogus. You can't teach anyone anything with 1,200 characters. It turns out that it's a really powerful way to have a very intimate discussion with learners as all or as part of your learning program. Michael is announcing today a competition for anyone at this conference who's a learning designer. They'll get free access to his platform, and if they build a course that I like, and he likes, and Josh Burson likes, then we'll give you $2,500 and access to the platform. So I wanted to give out a shout to Michael, because he's doing extraordinary work, he's using what he has, and he's coming from a place of humanity, which brings me to my next.
I thought the future would be cooler.